building.
Mic
Let us
check,
know.
mic check.
We here, we back. It's another Monday, huh?
It is, it
Yes,
is. You know what
sir.
that means? Yo. Mic check, mic check. As we fine tuning everything, just come on in. It is, it is. You know what that means? Ignore the little echo. As we fine tuning everything.
We should be good. How's it going, guys?
Man,
Doing good, man.
Good.
We're doing good. We're just settling in. As everybody comes in, go ahead and hit that like button and that share button. We want to invite everybody to kick it with us. We got a lot to discuss tonight, and we want everybody to be here. So go ahead, if you would please hit that like button and then that share button. We'll be getting started in just a second.
Man, tell your mama, your cousins, everybody. Tell them come on in.
Pookie down,
Yeah,
Ray down,
all of them. All of them.
All right.
Yeah, I think we cleared up the echo, so I think we're good.
Okay, I think we're good to go, man. We want to first and foremost thank everybody for logging in with us tonight for another episode of Kickinit316. We have an amazing show lined up for you all. We are excited tonight. I know our hearts are still heavy. We're still upset. We still got that same energy going. But I just want to say right now, I love each and every one of you all, not only here on Kickinit316, Courtney, you too, but all of our visiting, our viewing friends, man. We love all of you all. And we got to continue to spread love. It's the only way we're going to make it through these current times, man. So let's go around the horn. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm Croc Kicks.
I'm Ted. We're gonna introduce our special guest in a minute. So you haven't said that yet, Court.
This is your boy. Hey, Courtney. This is your boy Gio from the bottom, trying to get things together. What's good?
When you say the bottom, man, explain that to those who aren't familiar with the bottom.
Well, the bottom technically is at the bottom. So we're at the bottom. We're talking about South Florida, 305 Dade County.
Okay. We're 95 ends, right?
Yeah. We're 95 ends. As a matter of fact, 95 ends right around the corner from my house. So it is what it is.
Drop that location. Man, so you can pull up.
No, don't pull up. I've seen too many. Don't pull up.
At the floor mom.
Yeah. So let's get started. We're gonna dive into a little kicking business first. And before are we up and ready? We ready to go through everything, Gio?
I mean, we should be. We're good. We're good. I mean, lighting is good. Courtney is good. Ted is good. Croc Kicks is good. We good. Let's go.
So let's roll. Before we dive into some of the sneaker previews and then for our it portion, we do want to take just some time and just send some condolences and also celebrate the life of Pastor Walter Pearson. He was funeralized on today in Atlanta, Georgia. For you all who do not know, this man was an amazing preacher, an amazing storyteller, former director of Breath of Life Ministries, and I know he's impacted my life, and I think I can stand on and say that he's impacted all of our lives, and we just want to take some time and salute and just give our respect and appreciation for the life, the ministry of Walter Pearson, right? So just take a moment and just reverence his life and what God did through him in ministry. All right. Walter Pearson. I heard Myron Edmonds say that he was the GOAT. He was the GOAT, the greatest preacher of all time. And I'm okay with that, man. He was definitely dynamic. All right, now we got a little sneaker news that we want to discuss before we dive into our it portion. And for those who've been looking for the Jordan 6 hairs, man, they have been delayed. They have been pushed back. We know the first week there was, the protests going on, and Jordan said it wasn't really the right time to release these. And I believe last week they were supposed to drop again, and they were delayed on the 12th. You said,
Yeah.
and now we have a release of the 17th. All right, the 17th. So for those who want this shoe, you're gonna have to do a little leg work. But I believe this is a shoe that you will be able to add to your collection. We've already talked about the shoe. It is a dope shoe. You know why I stand. It's a white shoe. It's a white shoe. I ain't going for it personally. You know what I'm saying? But it's a dope shoe.
I almost don't want to give them, the heads up on how to get that thing, but this is a show where we share the blessings, and so, you gotta go into the raffles for the Jordan 6 hairs. Ted, I know Ted and I both entered. I don't know if I don't want to put your business out there, but they can't come get your shoes nowhere. You live behind some ironclad gates, but definitely go to, if you go to Hibbett Sports right now, you can enter a raffle, and literally they'll tell you ahead of time if you're selected. And if you're selected, you can actually have two options. You can pick them up, or you can have them sent to your house. And then the second one is Foot Locker. Foot Locker, literally, you can put in your bid for them. So the way that works is you have these flex points. These flex points, the more you buy, the more points you have. And when the more flex points you add to your bid to get those shoes, the more likely you'll be selected when it's time for the shoe. So these are things that you want to kind of keep in mind if you want to, in fact, be ahead of the line in getting those shoes.
All right. Next on the list, Ted, can you walk us through that next release?
Yeah, so Jordan 4, man, they've been doing this thing. I think earlier this month they came out with the purple colorway, but they thought white and purple, but it's a Jordan metallic pack that's releasing. And on the 20th, we're gonna get a green metallic, so it's all white with hits of green, and then a white with orange metallic and a white with red metallic. Once again, these are white shoes, so a lot of people sort of stay away from white shoes. Me personally, not a must-have. I think they'll be clean, but just the all-white shoe thing is just, especially with bigger feet, man. It's just it look like you're walking in boats. So try to stay away from those. But if you're interested and you need a shoe, you should be able to get those shoes. But I don't see any problem getting all three pair of those shoes if you really want them. So June 20th, I think they retail for $190 a piece. So
Yeah.
couple dollars. So if you got it, go ahead and get it.
Some of these guys that get the entire collection, get all four, the entire pack.
Right. Now, for the Sabbath keepers,
can't get them.
The raffles are a good option, right? You can grab those.
Yeah. The raffles,
can call ahead and have the pickup delayed.
Yeah, for this exactly. That's how you got to do it. If you Sabbath keepers, definitely you join into the raffle, and then they give you actually 24 hours, sometimes even 48 hours time if you hit to go pick up your shoes. So that's a good option.
All right. Now, Gio, man, this next shoe, man, you want to tell us about this shoe, man?
Yeah, that's the one I want to talk about. That's not the one I want to talk about. But I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it. I actually have the fire red. It was a Tinker Hatterfield combo. Originally the Jordan 5, you see like the shark mouth on the midsole. Well, they're coming out with the top three. All right, so we're talking about the top three different colorways on it. It's going to be black. Majority, the most of the shoe is going to be black, and some hints of red. It has, unlike the ones that just was released last month, this one has the Jordan 23 on the side, and it's fire. It's fire, especially if you like the fives. It's a ode to the 1990s. It takes you back to Fresh, to the Prince of Bel-Air, to Fresh Prince and Will Smith. The shoes that he wore, it takes you back to White Man Can't Jump. So those shoes are dope. Those shoes are very dope.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The three shoes that we mentioned today, the Airs, the metallic reds, the Jordan 5, the top three, they're gonna be a pass for me, man. I ain't feeling them. I am on some spending restrictions too, so perhaps that's part of the reason why I ain't feeling them.
Hey, tell the whole story, baby. Tell the whole story.
But I ain't feeling them, man. It's a pass for me. I ain't kicking those, man. It's a pass for me. What about y'all?
I'm with you on those 5. They sort of lost me with the purple tongue. I know what they're trying to do, but a black and red shoe with a purple tongue, they sort of lost me with that. So
yeah, the purple. I think the purple was.
Like, I ain't gotta have them for $200. You know, if they
outlet.
Yeah, the purple. I think the purple was literally an ode to the Bel Air joint. So
yeah, it was. But I'm sure because of the hype, the shoe would sell out. But
it will.
I ain't gotta have it.
So it's a no on everybody in terms of the 5s. I got you. Good.
On terms of all 3, it's a no for me, man. I'm a pass, man. I'm a pass.
Yeah. I can't wait to get them 6s though.
Yeah. So listen. Let's go ahead. Let's dive into.
Can we introduce our? Yeah, can we introduce
Ted?
Ted, go ahead.
Introduce our guest. First of all, we're grateful for another lady on Kickinit316. Can we give it up for all of our sisters, our queens?
And she was very patient to the kicks, and she was nodding. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. That's what's up. Go ahead, Ted.
So we try to be intentional about making sure that we are inclusive, and so we are searching for a woman who would bring to us some expertise on mental health. And so we searched, and I told the guys, I'm like, I know somebody. And so reached out to Courtney, and Courtney said yes. Courtney has her own podcast, My Therapy in a Box. So make sure y'all check that out. You know, we like to support others, so make sure y'all check her podcast out, My Therapy in a Box. Maybe she can give us some pointers on how to get our podcast going too. But anyways, Courtney, go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm licensed in Arkansas and Texas, and currently working on getting licensed in Tennessee. I work in an outpatient clinic ranging from ages 4 to 65. I work with kids and adults. I've been doing that for the last 2 years. And before I came to this outpatient facility, I worked in a day treatment facility, which was working with clients that had more severe mental illnesses, and they lived in a residential facility, so provided groups and individual therapy there. So the main thing I do is provide group therapy, individual therapy, along those lines.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Do you find it where it's you take in so much other people's stuff that you have to make space to release it and to deal with your own stuff?
Yes.
I always wondered that. Okay.
Every day.
Every day.
Keeping it real.
I know these two guys being pastors, they can attest to some of that, dealing with your members' issues that you try to, make time to deal with your own issues, deal with
Man.
them. So, I figured that was real. One question that we have. So, I guess we talked about yours. So what education do you have to get to where you are?
Well, a master's in social work, and after that, get licensed on your master level. And then after that, you will have to be supervised by an LCSW, a licensed clinical social worker, for 2 years. And then you can sit for the LCSW exam. And that's pretty much the road you can take as far as getting licensed.
All right, so
and as an LCSW, you can operate independently as well.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. And so you're about to go for it in Tennessee next, right?
Right.
Because that's what you and the Mister have made your home in Tennessee now.
Can we give him a shout out though? Can we give my brother a shout out though? Can we give my brother a shout out though? You know what I'm saying?
She's been sort of modest, but these two they've come together to create this powerful.
Yeah, power couple, man.
Couple, yeah, where they do.
Thank y'all.
So if you need photography or videography, check them out. They are dope. I watch them all the time. I hit up Marcus all the time, like, man, y'all stuff is dope.
Yo.
I mean, you just tell the way that they're, the way their clients, the experience they have with their clients is,
They,
they're doing great things. So if y'all in Tennessee, well, I guess anywhere really,
Yeah,
y'all see
yeah,
them
anywhere.
doing, y'all need.
anywhere.
I see them flying together to go shoot weddings. So if you need anything, just hit them up, man. What's
That's
your
right.
for the photography? How do they reach you for the photography as well?
They would go to marcusdporter.com.
There you go. All
That,
right, we're gonna
that's
All the
make
it.
sure you plug that in.
What was the word last week, Ted? A serial entrepreneur. I think that
Serial
that
entrepreneur.
literally describes who they are. Yeah,
Look, I'm trying to feed off Marcus. He's the serial entrepreneur. I'm still the
he
nine to
is.
fiver,
Love it. We love it. We love it.
Love it.
So as we continue on our show, question, Courtney, do you think there's actual mental anxiety in the Black community?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good question. Mhm.
Yes.
And so what would you think is the cause of it?
Well, a lot of anxiety stems from childhood experiences
Mhm.
stacked on top of situations that happen as we get older, stacked on top of society issues such as racism in the community, all the
Yeah.
trauma that we're experiencing, unresolved issues. It's layers to
Mhm.
anxiety when it comes to it, but a lot, it starts with our childhood experiences and kind of builds on that.
Mm. And so, I mean, man, I guess right now some of the terminology that we're hearing is stuff like privilege, right? White privilege, right? And I don't have a bad child. My upbringing wasn't really all that challenging. If I'm honest, but for many that's the story.
Right.
One parent, or not having the resources,
Right.
kids having to babysit their siblings instead of being able to do after school activities and go to tutoring. No, they have to walk home and babysit their kids. So
Mhm.
can you just kind of just talk about the struggle, the plight of people of color, and having to just kind of fight through the odds to be able to survive this thing called life?
I think a lot of it is kind of culturally driven because it's almost like we're born, I don't want to say cursed, but with a heavier burden than most. And it's a burden that our parents kind of tell us that we try to pray it away or not
Mm,
focus on it. And it gets ingrained in us as we get older. But a lot of things that our parents or even grandparents were used to dealing with is really not meant for you to deal with by yourself. And I think that's how other problems and issues are created, is because we feel that we are to carry all of these burdens by ourselves. We're not to involve people in our business, that what happens at home, stay in these four walls. And, that increases the anxiety and worry that everybody tends to experience. And it's all the examples that you named as well. Like, not everybody has to come from a disadvantaged home to even struggle with anxiety. Some people are just nervous to speak in front of others. Some people it's more emotional, like emotional or mental abuse, but mental trauma that they've experienced. And it may not have started at home. Maybe it started at school. Maybe somebody was bullied, but they never addressed it at home, and that plagued them as they got older. So it's a lot of layers and a lot of situations that people tend to go through, but majority of it stems from issues that we fail to address and call a thing pretty much.
absolutely. I know one of the most, I guess, difficult moments in my life as a child may seem very trivial to some, but it was actually my first go at fifth grade. I had completed all my assignments. There was some issues with my teacher. Um, Honestly, I felt like she didn't like me because of my skin color, and I made that known to my parents, and my parents made a decision to hold me back a grade. And my parents did the best they could with what they knew, and how to parent. But as I look back at things, man, I really probably should have sat down and talked to a counselor, because that thing really impacted my life and my view on education until I got to Oakwood. I had this distaste, this bitterness towards education, and I really never really achieved my best past fifth grade until I got to college and to grad school. So along with counseling, what are some of the solutions that we could do to deal with these anxieties that we face in our community?
Well, for some people, it's men may not want to call it journaling, but you can write. You know, writing is very important. Not only is writing important for writing the vision, but you're also writing things down that bother you, because a lot of times if everything is in my head, then I really can't think and focus on what the actual problem is. So not only talking to a counselor, but maybe a person who you trust and who you trust with certain information, writing things down, listening to motivational talks or motivational speakers. Um, wow, it's a lot you can do. I mean, exercise. Many people don't
That's good.
consider exercise as a key, but exercise is very important because exercises releases the necessary chemicals in our bodies to allow us to think clearly, allow us to rest, and allow us to function at the best possible performance that we can.
And I want to pass things over to Gio, but before I do, we always say, get a counselor, talk to somebody. But truth be told, a lot of people aren't even aware of how to find a good counselor.
Yeah,
If you're looking for a Christian counselor, I mean, do you just Google Christian counselor? Are there, I guess, agencies or apps or things like that that can help find good counseling in our communities?
Yeah, well, I'll go back to your original thing, the how you brought in the statement. A lot of the issues that come with having a fear of going to counseling is the lack of trust in the system and the way the system has been geared towards minorities. That's why you don't find a lot of Black or brown people really gung ho about going to therapy, because a lot of times when they've gone, nothing has helped them, or they've been stigmatized, or they've just had a negative experience, which is why we try to have more African American people who look like you, who you may feel comfortable with. Because even as Black men, if you, not saying that a person of another race can't be beneficial to you, but there will be some hesitancy if you were, let's just say, to meet with a white counselor compared to a Black counselor, because you feel like there's some form of relation, like you can relate to some things, to where if you spoke to someone else, you may be like, oh, they may not understand what I'm trying to say or my own experience. So I just wanted to say that point before I get to the next point, which is, yeah, there are many resources out there for us to look up. You can go to Psychology Today. I know a lot of my peers are on that platform. Surprisingly, Instagram, you can go on Instagram and type in mental health, and therapists come up, because that's the current business card now.
Yeah.
And you write your description on there and people can find you there. There's Facebook. You can search for people on Facebook, and there are also Facebook groups as well. I know I'm in a Facebook group called Clinicians of Private Practice. And there's starting to be more resources out there for minorities who want to seek counsel for themselves. So the resources are there, becoming more prominent for us to get to, rather than a distant thought.
Like Gio.
Yeah, that's dope.
I realize that you can also access counseling. Most people have that
Remote.
benefit with their jobs. I can't think of the name of the benefit, but you have the ancillary benefit through your job. What is it?
Um,
Oh, employee
are you
assistance.
talking about EAP?
Yeah, EAP. So a lot of people don't realize they have that. Where I think you
Mm-hmm.
can get 7 to 8 visits your employer will pay for.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah,
mean, this is stuff that people need to take advantage of, especially since I mean it's a benefit that is there. So I mean,
that's
why not
right.
use it?
And even now, because of the COVID, a lot of organizations, even companies like myself, provide telehealth
I was
counseling.
going to say that. That was going to be my next question. I know when my mom passed and my wife's mother passed as well. We didn't feel like going into, and so
Hmm.
we were looking at that remote and telehealth as well. So
Hmm.
that's dope, and I think that that's actually a good resource for people of color who sometimes have that anxiety about sitting across from someone who doesn't look like them. You're in your own home. You got your headset on, your phone on, or whatever the case is, and you don't know what the person looks like, and you're able to share into the person, and they're able to share with you as well. So that's
Right.
dope. Yeah, that's dope. I don't want to. I want to keep the same energy. We've been talking about the mental health, the current state of the mental health of the Black community as it relates to kind of like the season we're in.
Hmm.
So, question for you: I don't know if you've been able to see this in your practice so far, but how how are people of color reacting to all of these things that they're seeing on TV?
Mm.
How are they able to cope with that? Uh, and then I guess the next part B of that question would be, are we seeing a rise of PTSD among African American and people of color as a result of just watching the trauma that's happening on TV?
Okay, I'm going to try to. The first part was has it come up in the
Yeah,
business?
is it becoming prevalent? Yeah.
Well, I will give an example. I met with a client the last week,
Hmm.
and I was asking her how she's been doing based off everything that's been going on in the world, and has she
Hmm.
been impacted. And the surprising answer to that is she said she tries to avoid it because she recently experienced the death of a friend of two friends within a 5-day period.
Hmm.
And she said she's more so focused on grieving or trying to get through the loss of them. And so she's pretty much been avoiding the not so much the like the George Floyd information, and just the over influx of trauma,
Hmm.
of revisiting trauma, because she said it makes her angry and she doesn't want to be angry all the time.
Hmm.
And so that was an interesting question because that did come up, but it wasn't anything to elaborate on, because she just says, I try not to avoid it because if I see it too much, I'm just going to
I
be
guess.
angry all the time.
And I guess a follow up to that, and then you can get to the next question.
Hmm.
Is there such a thing as information overload in terms of those individuals? Yeah.
And I think people, when you already stressed and you
Mm,
already have a lot of burdens and anxiety, depression,
mm,
honestly, all this news, it's really best to detach from it, because it's not doing anything but feeding into your depression, feeding into
mm,
your anxiety, and all the other experiences and stressors that you deal with. Because honestly, me watching um, the murder
Fox,
pretty much
Fox News.
of George Floyd or CNN or anything, that's just that's just going to make me more afraid to leave my house when I already
Yeah.
struggled with leaving the
Yeah.
house anyway, or
Got
making
you.
me more sad and lonely. So really, there is such thing as an overindulgence of information,
Hmm.
especially when it's not benefiting your mental and emotional state.
Very good. Very good. And then, so I guess I feel like you already answered it. So so it is possible then for people of color as a result of just watching what's happening in our country, and just experiencing what we have experienced, just not now but in past years, that there is a chance for PTSD to be developed within our community.
Yes.
Very
And
good.
it's mainly because, PTSD is we get in that fight or flight mode.
Hmm.
And fight or flight is necessary.
Yeah.
Even anxiety is necessary, because anxiety tend to motivates our system that something's about to happen. But
Yeah.
because a lot of times it's used in a negative way, it creates a
Yeah.
fear,
Yeah.
false evidence appearing real. and instead of things actually happening the way that it does. And so the PTSD can be layered. I mean, really can be layered as well, because we get in a fight or flight, but we're really not about to fight anything, but our nerves are set up to do something.
Yeah.
And if we're constantly in that alert stance all the time, it's not giving our brain time to really think through and function at the best possible version of itself, which is our mental illnesses, created.
It's interesting to say that, and I want to kind of pivot. There's a question that Adam Maycock asked, but dealing with the PTSD, we were watching this thing. I don't know if we're going to talk about this today, if it's on the program, but there was this young man in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I think he was triggered. His mother said that he had previous trauma, so the police officers arrested him for jaywalking, and I think the body cam shows that one of the police officers approaching him from the back and grabbing him, and that instant like fight kind of just happened. Adam Maycock is asking, what about kids? How can we start with our children to break the cycle in our community? Okay, so thoughts. I don't know if that's more so to deal with having them open to the idea of counseling, because I guess it starts from an earlier age. To be honest with you, in the Black home now, things are changing as social dynamics are changing. But there used to be a time where Black men would not go to the doctors, like it was something that they just wouldn't do.
But you know why though, right?
Yes,
break that down for us.
Because
experiments, the TD experiments,
everything that pretty much minimized and demonized, the masculinity of a man and minimized who you are as a Black man. It's like, why would I trust an institution that continues to devalue me as a human being and use me for experiments, and treat me as less than human? So I wouldn't trust, I wouldn't trust that type of institution either, which it's factually based. So there's relevance to it.
So dealing with the question of that cycle, because I gave an example, in my house, my parents doing the best they could. I was in church, and they had an open door policy. I could talk to them about anything, but how do we break the cycle? Because like you started off and said, like in our culture, our business is our business, that stays within these four walls.
Yep.
So what do we do to still keep our privacy, but deal with some of these issues that we're having internally?
I think it's important to create an environment of communication, especially if you have kids and a family at home. I know we get so accustomed to eating dinner and going in our own separate rooms, but I remember a time when I was growing up to where everybody sat at the dinner table before we separate. And that created times to where you talked about things that went on throughout the day. What was going on? How did it make you feel? So create spaces and comfortable spaces to where you're able to talk, just as we call it, a rap session with your family with no judgment. And I think that's important, when you talk about kids, because kids tend to feed off their parents' energy. And so if they don't feel like they can trust what they're saying, like trust their parents to respond in an understanding way with a concern or problem that they have, then they're not going to likely bring it up, because they're like, oh, they're going to just fuss me out anyway, or they won't understand, or they're just going to tell me to go over here or go deal with it a certain way. So just creating a comfortable space of talking and communication without judgment, and putting the electronics down. I know it's a part, it's like another hand, but being able to detach and have that time, even if you have to put a timer on, like 30 minutes, this is family time. We're going to talk. Let's talk about, and ask kids, because kids are so knowledgeable. Now they're exposed to so much more, and they're smarter than what we think. And kids know what's going on in society now. Like we even see it in the media. Kids are out protesting and saying no justice, no peace. They understand. And when we talk talk to them like they have common sense, then they will respond in a way to where they feel comfortable talking to us
Yeah,
as adults.
that's real.
I
That's
want to
real.
piggyback on that. When it comes to communication, how do you feel about small groups? One thing that has constantly been on my mind. I shared this with the guys was the idea of having. I mean, like for men, having a barbershop type talk for men on
Oh yeah.
Mondays.
Mm,
Have something for women. Just because I think that I had this experience. I attended a conference in DC with Lockheed, and what they did two breakout sessions, and one breakout session was with all the men, and all the men were able to talk about different things that they face in the employment place, in the workplace. Dealing with if I become a leader, how do I handle the fact that I'm a black man and I have 20 subordinates who are white men who are looking at me. How do I deal with this? I mean, to me it was powerful just to see people who've been in the company for a while to be able to open up, and I don't know if they would open up the same way if it was mixed with men and women.
Hmm.
So I mean, how do you do any of those things? I mean, how do you see that being beneficial?
I I really see that being beneficial in churches, which is why I think not an excuse for people to leave certain churches, but I think that's where non-denominational churches have an up because they have small groups,
Mm,
small groups that cater to different areas and issues that other churches or denominations may tend to shun or say, get over it, or pray about it instead of talking about it. So I
mm,
think small groups are really effective, especially when you have people um, who are rooted in spirituality. Spirituality is a part of their experience.
mm,
And if they lack trust in the church and the church are the people, then that can create even more distrust in the God that they serve
mm.
because we are the light. We are supposed to show God's light to each other. If I be lifted up, I draw all men. And
Come
if
on
Jesus
now.
met with the people, on Jesus was rarely in the church because he was always dealing with the people and
Yeah.
addressing their issues and healing. And talking is healing, venting is healing because just like you just mentioned, when you were in that space, you felt it was a different feeling that you got. And that's the healing that comes from shared experiences because you realize, you know what, I'm not in this by myself. Like I have my brother over here who's dealing with the same thing, and maybe we can bounce ideas off and help each
Mm,
other.
mm.
I like
I had two more questions, but I think you answered
it.
She's ahead of us. She's
Oh
very
my
Yeah,
bad.
crafty.
I'll hand over the Croc Kid. Follow up.
Can't really hear.
I
We
think Croc Kid had a follow up, right?
um no, I actually I didn't, but I do want to say um I think conversations like these are needed in our communities.
Mhm.
Um because too often we just suppress stuff.
Yeah.
That's our way to deal with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me probably 2 years to decide that I was ready to grieve the loss of my grandmother.
Yo, that's
I
real.
suppressed it. I just suppressed it.
That's real.
Um, and the thing
Yeah.
that's so difficult is our culture is so ingrained in us. And we have our black culture and then the cultures of our individual homes too. The way we were raised is so ingrained in us that I went through. I'm not sure. Sound like
I don't
a
know.
it's me? Okay. Sound like a
Move your mic around a little bit.
right.
Jiggle
I
it.
don't think it ain't me.
I don't think it's me.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
But
It's
yeah,
gone.
I went through a whole unit of CPE for chaplaincy, and that first unit really deals primarily with understanding yourself. And I fought it the whole unit. I fought it the whole unit, and it
Mm,
wasn't. I mean, dealing with grief in general, even as I was going into hospital rooms and ministering to individuals, when things would kind of point back to my grandmother, I wouldn't stay in that uncomfortable space. You know,
Yeah.
I would minister to them, but then I would step out. And we have to have spaces like these and conversations like this to really break through the cycles. And so we're so grateful. We're so grateful that you took time out of your
Thank you so
busy
much.
day to come on here with us.
Thank you so much, Courtney.
If you could, Courtney, just give us a little pub. I know y'all got a lot going on over there. Y'all got apparel. Y'all got podcasts. Where can we find you? What do y'all have coming out next?
Well, first of all, thank you all for the opportunity. This was a great experience. And so I appreciate you all as well. But right now, so far, Marcus has the photography, marcusdporter.com, photography and videography. We do weddings, you know, and other photography, studio, lifestyle, you name it. Then we have our apparel line. It's called Hey Bro Apparel. It's HAYBRO apparel.com. And
All right.
we try to find a way to speak to the community without speaking about our t-shirt line. So we have a lot more. We have about 5 more shirts coming out this year. So look for that. Our last shirt was Give Me 6 Feet, Bruh. I don't know if y'all saw that. In relation to the COVID-19, the 6 feet distance.
Yeah.
So
you gotta
give me that.
people without being rude, like 6 feet.
Give me 6 feet. Yeah.
So we have the t-shirts coming out, and Marcus has, his own workshop that he's actually working on to, educate other photographers in the field. So, I mean, he has
we might have to bring him back on.
A lot going on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I'm proud of him in that. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have going on outside of me getting licensed. I'm trying to be able to offer individual counseling in my own entity as well to help the community, as well as offering more workshops within the community to educate a broader audience on the impact of talk and discussion to help heal through, issues and barriers.
Right.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thanks again, Courtney. We're gonna go ahead and let you sign off. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
I don't know what's happening.
I think Ted got
I love his poker face though. His poker face is me. That's a poker face.
Ted got some Bobo headphones, bro.
All right, Miss Courtney, thank you for joining us. We'll talk. Give my brother. Tell him I know he's a leader in the church, at home, in the community.
All right, I'll be off later.
All right, thank you.
All right.
All right,
that's not good. All right.
We might have to send somebody home too. What's going on? Hey, just show us your shoe real quick. Show us your shoe real quick. And get gone.
Hey, rock it or stop it. Rock it or stop it.
Hey, listen though.
Hey, listen, yo. Listen. Go ahead.
Courtney did a wonderful job, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really proud of her and Marcus. Like I said, I believe they're a power couple. And it's just dope that the fact that she was able to really kind of just touch on these key points that I think are necessary right now in this season, dealing with and I thank you, Adam, for bringing out a point that we weren't even thinking about, how to break the cycle within our own house with our young people, with the children. And so hopefully those tools, those gems will be beneficial to our community, to each of us who are tuned in tonight, and that we can make those applicable to our lives. Mental health is key. I mean, only the strong will survive, especially in this season. So mental fortitude is a necessity at this time. Rock Kicks.
We are now tuned into WX 34 AM.
It's AM. Well,
Yo,
listen, man.
listen, man. One of the things about growing up in Florida, y'all, listen to me. If you're from Florida, you know about cracking, right? Like you joke on each other, and you had to be quick on your toes. Whether you went to public school, you went to private school. If you are a
Especially private school.
Floridian, you know how to get on each other. And I'm just grateful, Ted. His microphone ain't working. He can't get back at us. If it was the
He can
roles
talk. He
reverse,
can
he'd be
talk.
doing the same. Oh, he can talk. He just can't hear.
No, we can't hear you. Now you gone, cuz.
So
You're
listen,
gone.
y'all.
He's
Listen,
gone.
y'all. Real quick, we want to
Hey.
transition, man, to some of the things that are going on in society right now. We first want to deal with the raw feelings. How are you all feeling now that Officer Lang was released on bond? You know, Officer Lang was one of the officers that was arrested in the murder of George Floyd. So guys, man, how did y'all feel when y'all saw that?
Honestly, I think in this country, certainly some of these bonds for these particular crimes need to be set in such a way that people aren't able to crowd fund or crowd raise to free themselves. You know what I mean? Like I don't know that the typical person who gets caught and has a bond set that is really high, who gets arrested and has this a bond that's real high, is able to muster those funds. Most of our people, have to stay in jail until that hearing comes. But we're living in a country where people who are nefarious in thought and who have racial animus will pour in funds to help people that are like them, right? So someone shoots a black person down, right? They'll raise funds. You look at George Zimmerman, right? The man is signing Skittles, and people are paying money for that, right? So my humble opinion is just this: that I don't think that you should set that bond for someone who is a police officer who has murdered someone, to be able to crowd fund, and those people who are pouring into his fundraiser are people who support white supremacy. So I have an issue with that, and I don't know how to deal with it. Maybe I need to call Courtney. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but this thing is serious, yo.
No, we can't. You're still on timeout, bro. You can't hear you. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep it pushing,
Hey,
man.
It's a 2-man show now, baby.
It's that
It's
red
a 2-man
you got
show,
on, bro. It's you're not kicking it with Gio and Croc Kicks. But he's trying to text us. No.
And we're not doing no text, man.
We good. So listen, for me, I'm torn because man, I don't want stiffer. I don't want the law to be, I guess, distributed stiffer to police officers or to white individuals. I want the law to be
fair.
To be fair across the board. And we all have heard and know of instances where bail has been set at ridiculous high rates, just for the fact that that the black person can't make bail. Right?
Yeah, but I think that their bail was pretty high too. But what I'm saying is, their bail is pretty high too. Like some of these guys ain't coming out. But the thing is, you have people
fundraise.
Exactly. That we're living in 2020 now. Crowd, what was it? Group Me, or what's it called? What was the GoFundMe? Like people literally, you have these racial groups who will crowd fund for people like Officer Lane. So I mean, that's my standpoint. I was coming from, not to say, and I hear what you're saying. You want it to be equitable, like if make it so that everyone has the opportunity to bond out. But my perspective is, in certain hate crimes, I don't think there should be any bonds. Period. That's just me.
Yeah, hear me now.
Yeah, we are loud and clear.
I think you fixed it, man.
Yeah, I'm back now because y'all ain't gonna leave me out of this thing, man.
All right, man. It sounded like some time out, man. Did you good, man? You sounded clearer.
He needed some time out.
That's all you needed was a little time out, man.
Hey, man, I don't know. Technology does what it does, man.
So talk to us.
I agree. I think it's crazy. I wish that when they do, start donating, that there was a way to see who donated.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish there's a way to see who donated and see how much they donated, and to
Smart.
be able to put those people on blast, because I think it just it goes to, you know, how real racism is in this country. There are people who are still supporting, like you said, George Zimmerman signing Skittle bags. There's somebody who paid, I
My
think, over
God.
$100,000 to buy the gun that he killed Trayvon Martin with. So the
It's
fact that these
crazy.
people are out there, it'd be good for them to be on Front Street so we know how they stand, so we don't have to guess who they are. But you know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got a question that came in. Y'all want to talk a little bit about 846? Did everybody watch Dave Chappelle's 846 on
Yeah.
YouTube? Now, due to the language on there, I cannot endorse it. Matter of fact, perhaps I did not watch it. Perhaps
We don't
somebody
know.
told me about it.
I watched it. I'll take it.
I watched it. You know, I watched it. You know, I watched it.
I'll take it.
Um,
Hey,
so yeah,
listen,
what were your
you were
thoughts,
just
man?
you were doing your. I was doing research when I watched it,
That's
and
it.
my thought on it simply is this: like, he mentioned a lot of people want to see these celebrities speak, but I think what was powerful to me that Dave said was, look, man, who am I, bro? The streets are speaking. And so we don't want this message to be lost or hijacked by Hollywood and the haves. I think that this grassroots movement is dope. People everywhere in America now, they're marching. People have their own podcast. Look at us, just three regular guys. You know what I'm saying? And we're tired of seeing this stuff, and we're just saying, let's have a general conversation. So I think that for me, it was a dope concept. 846. That's the time he was born as well, and how he weaved everything in and out. It was good, and he had some very key points. But the most important point that I take away from me is the fact that he acknowledges that let the people who are rising up speak. Let them take the lead on this one.
And they speaking. The streets is talking, right? Did y'all hear the Atlanta chant?
Now
Don't
what?
start nothing, won't be nothing.
Yeah.
The streets is talking, man. And listen, we've been talking about keeping that same energy, man, and
Yo.
that's exactly what we have to do. And for me personally, I lighten up a little bit, you know, but not too much, man. I'm still reposting, and trust me, I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy it, man. It hurts me. I don't enjoy it, but man, light has to be shined on these things, man, and we have to keep that fire burning that's inside, man.
That's real.
I enjoyed 846. I don't know about the whole COVID-19 aspect of it, you know what I'm saying? But I saw they took some precautions. They were outside. They were social distancing. So I'm cool with that. But it was sincere.
Yeah.
It was from the heart, and it was authentic. And that's what this generation really prides itself on. And for too long, as you know, we're here, and of course we're Christians. That's what the 316 is, and Kickinit316. There's no sugarcoating it. So those are the lenses that we view life from. But for too long, man, we prayed and then got up off our knees and haven't done any action, right? Or we've gone to church, and that's part of the problem now with the mental issues in our communities now, is because for years, man, we saw adults go to church, act like everything was perfect back home, right? Like they were perfect. So I'm talking squeaky clean, perfect. But deep down the stuff, all of their stuff stunk, right?
All of it.
And so we grew up, man, in that culture, and we too played that game of acting like you weren't going through nothing, man. And deep down inside, man, you stink, right? And for too long, man, we've been faking and fronting, man. So it's always good to see people be transparent and real.
Transparency. That's real.
I think what I like about the Dave Chappelle thing was that he talks to an audience that probably won't normally hear a lot of other people. And so I think the fact that he was real, it was authentic. It was like, I don't really have any jokes to tell y'all. It's just a lot. You could tell that he was trying to express, you know, what was going on in his mind. And I think, like I said, I mean, he talked to people that won't normally hear a lot of other people. So, I mean, I appreciated it for what it was. I mean, I know some people have things they disagree with. I know, I think Don Lemon had some issues with him calling out his name and other stuff. But I think, you know, for what it was right for the right time. So.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
And I think what's dope about it. I think they were in Beaverton. I forget what the name of the city is, but where he lives, and literally, it's predominantly not a black. It's not a black. It's not chocolate in any nature. And he referenced how previous to the George Floyd there was a killing in this town, and the people rallied. So I think in terms of just where we're at historically, um, the country is tired, right? um,
Yeah.
and people are rising up. And I think Ted put something up today. Keep filming, bro. That is a gospel. Let's keep filming. Some people say it's dry snitching. I don't care.
Film.
People out here acting crazy will put you on Front
Pull it
Street.
out.
And what I like about
Yup.
Twitter justice don't ever fail. Within an hour, they'll find your name, where you work. Some people are doxing people. Now, I don't endorse doxing, but they put in people's addresses on TV, or I mean,
Oh man.
so I'm just saying, if you don't want this, just don't be racist. So
Yeah.
this is kind
Um.
of like,
I got a question. So, how do y'all feel? I know it's sort of controversial right now about the Rashard Brooks case there in Atlanta on Friday night. He was pulled over, or he fell asleep. He told the officer, "Look, man, I know I had a couple of drinks, and if it's you feel like it's not good, I'll walk home." And then some people say, well, I mean, I think whenever something happens, people are gonna try to find a way to blame the victim, whatever. Some people are in disagreement because he got into a squabble with the cops, but at the end of the day, it's like
You got a
you
good
see
look at
other
it.
people, you see other people getting in squabbles, and
Right.
they walk home. He
Yeah.
he ran away and then get shot in the back. So it's like,
I
That's it.
just, I just don't know, man. This thing. Go ahead, Croc,
Hey,
please.
cuz, hey, let me just say this right here. The temperature, hey, the temperature is hot.
It's
It's
yeah,
hot.
hot.
It's
yeah,
hot.
It's
It's,
hot
yeah.
it's
now.
The block is
hot.
hot.
It's
I don't
hot
know.
now.
And the reason
As,
why I don't
as,
know, the reason why I don't know, Ted, is because, like you said, I'm not, and this is not even blaming the victim, right? It's not even blaming the victim, but I see it from a different perspective. Like, I see it that the shooting, there were other avenues. He didn't have to kill the person. He didn't have to kill Mr. Brooks. He didn't have to do that. I think that was uncalled for. But I don't want to use the word but. At the same time, I think it's important to notate that police officers, to a certain degree, have a job that they need to do. Now, how they do it, I think, is where the issue is for me. Because there was a study, I was telling someone, there was a study about body cameras, and how they viewed how police talk with African American males, or people, African Americans, versus how to talk to white people. And through the study done through the body cams, they saw that they were more polite with white people than they were with black people. And so I think that there's a sense of that there. So my thing is, there's a job to be done, but how you do it matters, right? I think how you do it matters. Someone is passed out in a drive through, and he's been drinking. You give him a breathalyzer test. You know what I'm saying? And if he fails it, then you've got to find a way to do your job uh, without someone dying. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't die because you're drinking and driving. Is what I'm saying. But at the same time, let's not, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say too much because,
yeah, it's hot. It's hot. Let me say this.
yeah,
I feel like it was a bad shot, that I okay, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? I've been in a situation in high school where, man, we weren't parked in a Wendy's. We got pulled over. All right. I was a junior in high school. And I was, hey, I was wilding. You know what I'm saying? I was
Yeah,
wilding. I
yeah.
it's
was in a
BC days. This,
vehicle
this is BC,
with,
BC.
if you know anything about Tallahassee, Florida, I grew up in Killarn. I grew up in the burbs. The high school I went to was, I don't
Lincoln.
say predominantly white, but it was privileged. And I was in a vehicle with two white girls, and there was alcohol in the car. We got pulled over, and they let us go.
Hmm.
It happens. They made
Yeah.
us call rides, right? And They let us go. Now, this brother, he fell asleep. He was drunk. Clearly, he was drunk. We know he was drunk. He probably had more than 2 margaritas. All right. He probably had more than one and a half, right?
Yeah.
But the officer, when he's called to come on the scene, he can either give him a citation, right? He can either arrest him, or he can let him go. He can have him call a loved one, have them come pick him up. Those are options. In that situation, like you said, he's not supposed to die. Yes, he punched the officer. He did, and that's wrong, right? That's illegal. There's a charge for that, but it's not death.
Yeah,
he grabbed the taser. He grabbed the taser.
Yeah, death should not be one of those 3 options you mentioned.
Correct. He grabbed the taser. He ran from them, right? And it does appear that he pointed the taser in the direction of the officers. But then again, once again, that is not a lethal weapon. If it was so lethal, why are they so quick to use it on us? They should have never fired their weapon.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
And what I would like to say is kudos to the city of Atlanta for go ahead and acting swiftly. And I wonder how much of it is because of the tension, because of the pressure. And
like you said, the block is hot, brother. The block is hot.
And we appreciate what Mayor Bottoms is doing. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it is the pressure that's out there, man. But they acted swiftly.
It's definitely the pressure, and I'm gonna let Ted take it out on this. It's definitely the pressure. But what I'm saying, don't get me wrong. I'm not in no way.
Say it clear. Say it clear.
Say it clear. I'm not in any way in agreement with someone dying over, being pulled over or being caught in his car, passed out drunk. We don't even know if he was drunk for real. We just know he took a breathalyzer test, so we don't know what the outcome of that was. But I want to say this: it's kind of like when you get pulled over in a traffic violation. The officer has options. He can give you a warning. He can let you go without a warning, or he can give you a ticket. And I'm saying that we've got to get to the point where that process is done in such a way that is rudimentary, it's automatic, it is mechanical, that there is no escalation. You know what I'm saying? Find a way to I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just know that I think that
the answer is get on your radio. The answer is get on the treadmill so you can catch him. Because at the end of the day,
the brother man wasn't even running that fast.
That's what the radio is for. That's what the radio is for.
Gio hit on the point, and I think it's prevalent in all of these situations that we see. And you said it, and you don't know if you realize you said it. De-escalation. De-escalation. My first thing when I come on the scene should be, how can I smooth this down so that everybody goes home safe tonight? And to me, it felt like the officer knew that Rashad had been drinking, but he kept asking him questions. Like, I'm trying to push it on,
trip him up.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you mind take your breathalyzer? And he's like, I don't know what that is. Oh, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I mean, you already know, bro. It's like, why
the drama?
Why keep building? Yeah, why keep building up? Why not just be like, okay, I know you've been drinking. I'm not even going to. We don't have to go there. So I'm gonna give you 2 options. Either you can call somebody and go home and get a ride home or walk home, or B, I'm going to take you to jail. And I think anybody in their right mind would be like, I'll take A. He even offered that. I'll walk home. I'll take A. Here, have my keys. I'll go home. I just think de-escalation has to be the thing, because people aren't supposed to be getting killed because they fell asleep in the car.
But let me let me just say something. Let me just say something that might be I don't know if it's controversial or progressive. I'm of the belief now, and I've shared this with you guys, I don't think you should be a police officer without a 4-year degree. I'm sorry. And I'm not an elitist. I'm not an elitist. Minimum. Yeah, a minimum. Because listen, you have the power and authority in your hand to take a life, right? Bro, you need to have some social sciences that you're efficient in. You need to understand, the psyche of
community
people.
Service too.
Yeah. Like literally, I don't think that someone coming out of high school with no life experience who becomes indoctrinated in police life and all they know is police life, no real experience, can now have the option of taking someone's life, you know?
Oh.
So the whole system to me just needs to be looked at. The whole defund, and I don't want to get deep in the weeds, but defund and all that.
You can go from high school graduate to a police officer with a gun and a badge in 6 months.
Exactly. That's
6 months.
crazy to me. That makes no
And
sense.
probably isn't a deputy even quicker? Listen,
But now
I
think it's all about the same.
so listen. One of my buddies, he's a paramedic in Atlanta, right? He was sharing on his Instagram that IG story that the officer that actually shot Rashard, that he actually worked with him at Six Flags some years ago. That he was a security guard at Six Flags, and my friend, he supervised the first aid station. He's a paramedic. And he said, listen, did he think that this man was capable of this? Perhaps. But he said, listen, this man definitely had pride issues, little man syndrome. He definitely had a chip on his shoulder. And probably the moment, and I'm adding into this, but probably the moment he got punched in his mouth, got his taser taken, and was running away, it probably was like, you know what, we're gonna end this right now.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's sickening. I'm glad that he was fired. I think I saw a report that it was ruled a homicide by the coroner.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see
report,
what the autopsy report determined that it was homicide. So we'll see what happens from there. Let's transition to a name, man. We got to continue to say, and we got to say it louder and louder and louder. Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
Breonna Taylor, man. Hashtag it. Say it, man. Post her beautiful face, her picture, man. But a Breonna Taylor law was passed.
Yeah.
No more
no knock warrants.
No knock warrants.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that they can have sense enough to create a law for no knock warrants, but to this day still haven't arrested the person that killed this young lady while she was sleeping. And I can't. It just doesn't. So you understand what happened was wrong enough to where you can create a law so this doesn't happen again, but you don't do anything to the person that.
Can I mess you up a little more? Can I mess you up a little more? How about this? How about Kentucky? The mayor of Kentucky, I believe, is a Democrat, right? Of Louisville. I believe the governor of Kentucky is a Democrat, right? And man, it's really frustrating, man, because we just give our vote oftentimes to a certain party, man. And what does the party do for us? Like, blind allegiance has to stop. It has to stop. We got to take time. We got to look at these candidates individually. We got to vote the best person in. And then also we got to begin to produce our own politicians, our own candidates.
But you know what? And I know, and charges hopefully come, and I believe they should come. But I see this law as really an indictment on the system. And that's what it is. Everybody's out of order. You're out of order. They're out of, I mean, not when I say you, the police department's out of order. The lawmakers are out of order who created that law. The entire system is out of order. That is out of whack. And I think that anyone, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. AJ, maybe you can discuss this, but help me out with this. But anyone who has been a victim of no-knock warrants should have a legal footing to maybe seek for some kind of recompense, right? Because there's no way that these no-knock warrants, nothing good can come out of that. Nothing good can come out of that. I've heard so many stories of mistaken property, wrong houses where they've raided and grandmas have been shot. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
When I was working at a law firm doing personal injury, one of my cases was a grandmother who they broke into her house looking for her grandson. He wasn't there. Then throwing her on the ground, breaking her pinky finger.
My God.
She was so like it's so traumatizing her that she ended up urinating on herself. And I mean, it's just stuff. It's and to me, what even frustrates the Breonna Taylor case even more is the fact that they knew that the person we're looking for wasn't even there.
See,
So then why even serve this no not warrant? Are you looking for drugs? And if you're looking for drugs, why not just get a search warrant?
Yeah.
If the person that you're looking for isn't there, then why? And then it's
How did they know he wasn't there? Go ahead and break that down. How did they know he wasn't there?
I'm not.
He was in custody.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. I didn't want to speak on it, but I thought
The man was in
jail.
custody. He was in custody. It's
On a
almost as if
separate
they
charge,
said,
right?
man, listen, it's almost like when you go to a court and you done suited up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And ain't really no competition out there, but he's like, bro, we done drove all the way out here, but we gonna hoop anyway.
Play ball, yeah.
Might as well hoop. And it's almost like they said that, man. It's like they said, we done strapped up, we done got all this gear on, we ready. We're gonna do this. We're gonna execute this no knock warrant, man. And it is sickening because they wouldn't do that in their own communities because they realize how dangerous it is, man. And so it's frustrating, man.
We gotta keep the pressure on for Breonna Taylor though, because I know, you know, it's just when other names, I think, you know, George Floyd took us all took us all out because we watched it happen. And then, you know, now you got Rashad Brooks come out and we watched that happen. But we can't forget Breonna Taylor because she deserves, her family deserves justice for, I mean, I heard the interview, I don't know if you heard an interview with her mom, to where
that thing
her mom was there and they wouldn't even tell her mom what was going on. Wouldn't let her mom see her. And so it's
gave her the runaround. No, they gave her the runaround.
The runaround. They sent her to the hospital. And homegirl was in the
apartment.
I mean, these are tactics. I don't want to be too transparent with my personal life, but listen, after my mom died in an accident, was killed, the police have a way of not giving you the information that you need.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they'll give you the runaround. And they have information. They have black boxes. They know what, you know, in my case, they knew that the kid was speeding, but they didn't want to release that too soon, you know? And I just feel like, you know, I don't know what kind of laws, could be established where people are treated equitably, because I believe in my heart, if my family had been of a different hue, that situation would have been resolved a lot different.
Not even a different hue. If your family is, I mean, being a different hue, and if your family didn't have an accent, you might have got treated differently. So I mean, and I think, and Crockett's hit on it earlier, and I've said it before too. Not only do we have to vote, but we got to start being those candidates. We have to start being judges. We have to start being mayors. We have to start being governors. We have to be those people, because what happens is that, so everybody comes now this stuff happens, and everybody starts throwing laws out there, throwing this and throwing that out there. But are they doing things that's going to affect real change? And how long are they going to stay on it? How long are they going to ride the horse? Is it, now because my term not coming up now, so I'm just going to ride this for a little while, versus a person who's in there because they know the suffering and they want to make real change. I think it's just a big difference. And we have to be those people.
Yeah, definitely.
Man, let's last week we had an amazing show for those who were with us. If you missed that show, you can find it at our YouTube channel, Kickinit316. All of our shows are posted there, along with our sneaker reviews. We reviewed several shoes on last week. I did the Flint 13s. AJ, Ted, what did you drop?
I did the bread toe Chicago ones. Black toe Chicago ones.
All right, Gio, what'd you drop? I think you dropped a double whammy, right?
Come on, last week.
Did.
I forget what I did.
The one. He did the one. Then I think the Fire Red 5s.
Yeah. So we got some heat on there for you all to check out, man. But on last week, we had some amazing guests on. We talked about Black entrepreneurship. Shout out to Mr. B's, man, Grooming Lounge. He came on. Also, the Nurse Practitioner Group, and Stacy came on. And then the Goodie Bowl. You know what I'm saying? You see the emblem, you see the merch, man. I'm representing the Goodie Vault today. And then also, man, we care first. Transportation services, care.
Yes,
Man, we're
sir.
Yeah,
grateful for
we
you
gotta
all,
plug our
man.
people. We gotta plug our people in. You know what I'm saying?
Always, man, always. If you're in Huntsville, I want to just shout out the Donut Hole, man. The Donut Hole. Go ahead and hit that in your navigation, man. Locate that, man. Black-owned business. They make the best donuts in town.
Real
The
talk.
Yeesh.
best donuts in town.
Gotta check
Listen,
it out next time I'm in the Ville.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to get some.
my quarantine appetite is different, y'all. This shirt used to fit different, man. I have about half a dozen myself, y'all. Man, they are amazing, man. Check them out, man.
Oh, hey, Real talk, Shay. I don't want to cut you off, but the shirt you got on looks like you getting ready for them hairs. I'm not listening to you say you're not going after no shoes.
I ain't
no more.
going, bro.
Whatever,
I ain't going.
whatever.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
He'll lie. He going for them hairs.
I'll
Don't
believe
do
when
it.
I see it.
Did you get yours? Did yours come yet, Gio?
Hey, they still being authenticated. Don't do that to me, man.
Hey, that's a low blow.
Yeah,
That's a
you
low
know I'm
blow
hurt.
right there.
You know I'm
That's
hurt
a
right
low
now.
blow.
Yeah, man. Let's give the people what they want to see, man. Did y'all want to shout out a business, or y'all want to go right into these shoes, man?
Oh,
Y'all
man.
got-
I want to shout. I can shout off. Go ahead, AJ.
I can shout out. I think it's Keisha's place. Homegirl got her little vegan thing going on here in Orlando. I think it's Tastefully Divine. That's Sister what you call it. She got her little Caribbean food
Bernadette,
truck,
Sister
man.
Bernadette.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I try to shout out if I could think of any more, I definitely shout it out, man. But yeah, we definitely want to support black-owned businesses, man. Not because we don't care about other people's business, but it's time for us to uplift our own businesses so we can, make some economical changes to cause some other type of changes to occur.
Absolutely.
The best event planning people in South Florida, in Miami, hands down. And listen, I'm not saying this because that's my boy. Those are my boys. These are my brothers. But Jay Woods, go check him out on Instagram. Check him out on Facebook. Check him out on the web. I'm talking about Jay Woods, Chef Junior, and my man Woods. Two of the most upstanding guys that I know. They are leaders at home, church, and in their communities. And we just want to make sure that we plug them in. They've done some work for a lot of people, and they're continuing to do work in our community. And so shout out to all the Black-owned businesses. And so they do catering, they do party planning, and I mean, they do it up. So check them out.
As we go ahead and get our shoes ready for tonight, we're gonna go ahead and show y'all what we kicking tonight, man. Shout out to two Black real estate agents that I know here in Huntsville. If you're looking for a home, man, check out Jessica Dudley. Also check out Amanda Otieno, man. Check out my peoples if you're looking for a home to purchase here in Huntsville. What y'all got to share today, man? I'm going last. I'm
going for a home in Orlando. You gotta check out Billy and the Realtor. See, you gonna keep the thing going.
Drop that.
Yeah.
So what y'all rocking, man?
I'm gonna go mine first because I'm being unorthodox. Mine first, not mine's, but mine first. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to rehab some shoes, and I didn't get my product out. If you get a chance to check out MGK, is sick with it. I love my Air Raids. I don't know if you can see those.
Throwback.
These original outdoor shoes, cross training shoes. If you're trying to do some exercise out there, these are the Air Raids. And I want to show what they used to look like. Can I do that?
Bring it close now. Let us see.
I don't know if you can tell, but they look the same. I don't know if they look the same, but definitely, if you get a chance, check out the MGK products. These were awesome shoes. I bought them so I could wear them, and now I've literally rehabbed one, and tonight I'll do the other.
Where'd you get the product from?
Man, so you can check them out online. As a matter of fact, in a little bit, as you do your shoes, I'll go get the box and I'll pull it out there so y'all can see it.
All right, I'm gonna go a little unorthodox too. if you follow Kickinit316, you saw my on feet of these, and I think they look doper on feet than actually doing hand.
Okay.
So this is the Puma RSX mix.
Pumas.
Yeah.
Pumas.
Man, it's the
Hey,
only
don't say
pair.
nothing, Shake.
It's
It's
the
on
only
for me,
pair of
AJ.
dead shoes that I own. They're comfortable. I rock them. I think they look great on feet. I think they look better on feet than in hand. But anyway, just had to show a little love to Puma. You know, we normally focus on Jordans and Nikes, but I had to show a little love to Puma for tonight, man.
That's a pass. That's a pass for me. That's a
Exactly. And
pass.
hold on,
That's a
AJ,
pass.
hold on, Ted, hold on. Those laces are dope. Did you get those?
Yeah, these are the laces that came with them.
Tell me a little bit about the shoe. Is it a tribute to heritage?
I don't know. I can't even lie. Say I know. I don't know. I just thought when I saw the picture, they looked dope. When I got them, I was like, man. But then when I put them on feet, I was like, okay.
No, but they're comfortable though.
Them. Yeah, they're comfortable. Definitely comfortable.
Oh, okay.
They're supposed to be running shoes, but I don't know if you can run.
That's why we buying shoes for comfort.
No, I ain't running these.
Why you hating out?
That's what I do.
Yeah, we know what his role is.
So man, listen, I don't even know. Did I already show these?
Nah, but show them again. You did it. No, you did it. No, you showed. No, you did.
So I'm working on a review of these shoes, man. These are the Air Max 97 Desert Sky. They get the Desert Sky. Don't mind that stain right there. These have some miles.
I'm gonna sing some of the MGK. Hold on, let me go get my joint.
I'm Rejuvenator. Yeah,
I'm Rejuvenator too.
They got the desert tan color here, and then the sky
Hold
blue.
on. Did Gio just hit up with a West Park logo?
He's trying to drop some publicity for his church.
He's trying to plug his church, man.
But yeah, so I like this shoe, man. It's Air Max 97. You can never go wrong with 97. There's a lot of different textures in this shoe. The lights
you can't go wrong with Air Max, period, brother.
Air Max, period, right? And so yeah, right now this shoe, I believe it's like 306. I copped it for 205. It's an investment. It's like stock. It goes
so you
up.
So you trying to say you about to sell them?
No, I'm not about to sell it. Yo, man, George, man, if you got that product, man, let's get that, man. Let's get that before we. Oh yeah. You can get that from the malls, right? The young boys be selling it at the malls, right?
Yeah, and this product is dope. I was skeptical, and my man did a straight up presentation on my shoes. I was rocking, I forgot what shoes I was rocking, some J's probably. And he did one shoe and the other shoe wasn't done. You could see there was day and night. But what I like about this one, it gives you everything you need, the rain, a water repellent, you got the product, and then it gives you that white oil so that you can make sure you can touch up your midsoles. So it's dope.
What's that retail for?
I forget.
Oh, okay.
I want to say maybe anywhere between 20 to 30.
Let me just say this, man. One of my homies, I'm gonna keep him nameless, man. If you use an aerosol spray cleaner on your sneakers, man,
where did you do that?
You're killing your shoe, bro. You're killing your shoe. Get some water base, man. Get some water base. Listen, I went ahead and bought him a kit. I just went ahead and bought him a kit. Sent it to him on the house. A Rejuvenator kit, man, on the house. Listen, one a year. Don't ask. I ain't sending no more kits out. One a year.
Some brothers still using Windex on their shoes, brothers.
Right. Don't do it, man. So man, that's it, man. We gonna fade on out, man. It was a great show. We thank Courtney for coming on. We thank Ted, man, for his technical difficulties, man.
It wasn't me this time.
Yeah. And most importantly, we thank you all, man, for hanging in here, watching with us, kicking it with us, vibing with us. Please check our YouTube page out. We're trying to transition soon to YouTube, but we got to build our following up there. Please follow us, Kickinit316 on our YouTube, Kickinit316 on Instagram, and of course, Kickinit316 on Facebook,
man.
Yo, and with that, man, we out, man. Vibe out to these sounds, man. We out.